title of this story is My Ex-Boyfriend and I Were Together for Just Over 3 years. We broke up because our parents, my mother and his father, got engaged. They pulled a lot of shit, but I'm going to try to condense it. They spent months referring to us as siblings and introduced us to people as our children and constantly joking about us as though we were full-blood relatives when there's not even a distant relation. When they got engaged, there even came more comments about how we were going to be a regular nuclear family with a married couple and their children and mom telling me I should think of my ex and his sister as my siblings. A bit before the breakup, I had a pregnancy scare. I told my mom, who said it was good I wasn't pregnant because how will you explain to the grandbabies that you have the same parents? Okay. Red flag for that, even though my red flags aren't working. We're on red alert mode here already. So wait, okay. Rather than be excited about the prospect of being a grandma, she was like, I'm glad you lost the baby. Ask on one for you immediately, Mom. Holy crap. And also somewhere in this, she's like, you know what? I'm going to choose my happiness over my child's. Good start. They got engaged and had an engagement party where my ex wasn't in attendance, but I was. At the party, my mother gave a speech and said, thanks to our children, X and OP, for helping create this wonderful little family unit of ours, aside from your incest. I then had to deal with that for the rest of the party, and X and I wound up breaking up within a week because now our entire extended family and family friends were joking about it. Hold up! They were still together? I didn't realize. I thought like once mom and dad here explained or announced that they were together, that OP and boyfriend like just immediately broke it off. They were still trying to make it work. And then they had an engagement party and they were still together, but boyfriend didn't show up. And mom calls her out for incest. Okay, let's keep score here. We've got I'm going to date your boyfriend's dad. I'm guessing after they've been dating, so I'm going to take this away from you. I'm glad you lost your baby. And I'm going to call you out for incest in front of a bunch of people when that is absolutely not the case at all. Also, I'm going to destroy your happiness so I can have my own. Mother of the century, right here, everybody. Mother of the century, right here. The wedding was on Valentine's Day. We hadn't spoken since the breakup, but X contacted me and asked how I wanted to handle it, and we agreed either we both go or neither of us go. I can tell you which one I'd do right now. Not going. We both flip-flopped back and forth on if we were going or not, but ultimately agreed to go because it would look worse if we didn't go at all, and we were both asked to be in the wedding party. Really though? Because the last time you were at an event with your mom, she called you out in front of everyone for incest. So what's going to happen if your now ex-boyfriend is going to be there as well? It went about the same as any other wedding would go, right up until the DJ said that our parents wanted to dedicate a song to their children. And then he played Sweet Home Alabama. Me and X left after that, but my mom followed. She said it was just a joke. We didn't need to get all huffy about it and begged us to come back inside. We refused and stood outside while we waited for the next bus. Then we got to talking, and long story short, we agreed to pick up where we left off, as we'd been apart a few months, but all the feelings were still there. We'd not had any other relationships in this time, and he even still had stuff at my place. We agreed that it was stupid of us to let other people dictate our relationship, and also agreed to severely limit contact with our parents this time around. Not full no contact, but very, very low contact. We've also booked some sessions with a couples counselor starting Sunday. Today, my mom asked me to meet her for coffee, and I went thinking that this would be a perfect time to tell her we're back together, talk about boundaries, and initiate the very, very low contact my boyfriend and I had agreed on. However, I ran through the rain to get there and didn't think to touch up the concealer I'd put on the hickey my boyfriend left on my neck last night. Mom immediately sees it and asks where it's from. I was about 2 seconds away from George glassing her, but then she says, "It's from your brother, isn't it?" It was at this point that my mother pulled down her collar to show me her matching hickey that my ex's dad had given her. That's not part of the story. I'm just messing around with you. I then snapped, "He's not my brother." She now knows everything she needs to know and basically says that she's been married less than a week and I'm already trying to ruin it. I got a bit upset and responded that she essentially ruined my relationship of 3 years in favor of her relationship of less than 18 months, and we've only just started rebuilding what they ruined. She then says, "Clearly, we didn't do a good enough job if you're already mending it." I directly asked if she was trying to break us up. She admitted that she and my new stepdad had entered into their relationship with the sole intention of ending ours because we said once in passing that we had been looking at houses a bit under an hour away so we could have a garden for future kids, and they didn't want to have to drive 2-hour round trip to see us. She's going for like the triple hat trick here, where she just like, every selfish decision that I could possibly make, I'm gonna make. I will ruin your life. Henceforth, Mom in the story shall be known as Mother Gothel. When they realized they actually liked each other and wanted to get married, they then became even more committed to ending our relationship because they'd rather we were heartbroken than let our friends and family think that they were odd. Hold on again. I can only read this effing story one paragraph at a time because after every paragraph, I'm like, wait. Okay, wait. They only started the relationship to end OP and her boyfriend. They didn't even like each other at the time. They just pretended so that they would break them up. That was the entire reason for starting it. Then they actually started liking each other. So this whole thing started as a way to make sure we didn't move an hour away from them, and now it's them trying to make sure their friends and family don't think they're weird. My mom left an hour ago. My boyfriend is at work right now, phone off, totally oblivious. I'm still at the coffee place writing this in a state of shock. What do I do with this information? I know I need to tell my boyfriend when he gets off work, but how do we approach either parent going forward or begin to deal with this whole thing? I have thoughts, but... What? Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to bring up Caden Thunder to give his thoughts for the story.
That was like Inception with incest. I don't know. I'm at a loss of words for that. Yeah, their parents should probably have been more honest about things.
What would you do if I did this to you?
Yeah.
Say in another universe, Candy Thunder, you're the love of my life. This would never happen. This is hypothetical. If you were dating somebody and I was like, I don't want you to move an hour away, so I'm going to pretend to date her mom just to break you guys up. What would you do?
I don't know. What are you supposed to do in that situation? Like, what are you supposed to do in that situation? I guess just move. Yeah. I'm gonna like fill your exhaust pipe with snakes.
Exhaust pipe with snakes?
Something.
Oh man. The shocking part of this for me here, the really terrible part about this for me is that it's not just the mom, it's also the boyfriend's dad. They are the most selfish asshats that I have ever heard of. Never ever once thought about happiness of their children. They could only think about themselves. This whole bullshit thing started because they didn't want to drive a couple hours. They were willing to flush their entire lives the potential of having grandchildren and seeing their kids happy and seeing this future that they could build, which is what every parent wants for their kids, right? They want them to be happy. They want them to have the ability to build this successful life in this family and truly be happy. And they didn't want any of that. They just didn't want to have to effing drive an hour. So cooked up this plan to pretend to date each other so they wouldn't have to inconvenience themselves. This is the shit part that it comes down to. Your happiness means less to me than my convenience. And so I'm going to sabotage your fucking life. I'm going to end your relationship. I'm going to call you out on incest in front of a bunch of people when it's all just a ruse that I started in the first place here. I am going to publicly humiliate you. I am going to shame you multiple times here. And I'm going to marry the guy that I pretended to like, just so I wouldn't have to drive an hour to break you up, who we started actually liking each other, but also more so now we just don't want our friends and families to think that we're weird. So we're gonna follow through with this just to prevent you from being happy. You know what, Ma? You! I said it. This is horse shittery, bullshittery, assholery, every effing thing that we could cook up here and put on a freaking t-shirt. This is beyond beans in the pillow. This is like, I'm gonna put her in a straight jacket filled with beans. How do you like that? Raw beans and squelchy beans. You get the full bean experience, Mom. I'm going after Mom here specifically because it's OP's mom. I'm sure if there was a post written by the boyfriend here about his dad, we'd be going just as hard after him. But this just is sickening to me that someone would do this to their own child, give not a shred of respect or love or care or anything about them, just want to protect their convenience. What a piece of shit.